Is it too close?
Oh, it's perfect.
Yeah.
You can't be too close.
Yeah.
Restream's got it. Facebook's got it. YouTube's waiting.
Ready?
YouTube's on.
Yeah.
There we go. Webcam.
To cash out or not to cash out? That is the question. What's going on, guys? My name is Minh with What's a Mortgage. Welcome to our live stream. The goal of our live stream is to educate, empower, and to connect you with the right mortgage. If it's your first time tuning in, do me a huge favor. Hit the notification or subscribe button so you're notified every time we go live or post new content. We go live every Monday night at 9 p.m. We do question and answers, so you get to ask all your questions as a consumer. And on Sundays and Wednesdays, at 9 a.m. we will be posting new content on YouTube coming up. All right, guys? So definitely tonight, ask as many questions you can. Hopefully you enjoy our live stream. It's your first time. If you're a shy person, you can always message me the question. All right? So tonight, should you refinance or should you not refinance? A lot of people say if you refinance, you end up like this guy, right? You end up like this guy if you refinance. But, you know, one thing I learned in life, I learned a long time ago, is do not judge people's decision if you don't know where they are in life. Everyone is at a different place in life. For you to give your opinion on it without knowing where they are in life, you're just a narrow-minded person, okay? And number two, don't judge a person's decision until you run the numbers. So tonight, we're going to go over, should you refinance, should you not? Why should you refinance and cash out? When should you not, okay? My theory behind doing cash out, the reason why everyone's so nervous about cashing out is why tap into your equity? You're going to end up owing more money. You're so close to paying off your house. Why would you pull cash out? I had a person reach out to me today. They are in forbearance. They're going to lose their home. They owe like $380 on their house. Their house is worth 800 grand. So you don't want to tap into your equity, right? But you're willing to hold on to this 380 and go into foreclosure and lose your home, right? And if you rent it out, you're going to go rent somewhere else. It's going to be more expensive. So what do, right? So a lot of people give theories about don't cash out, hold on to it. But what's the use of holding on to it, right, if you're going to lose your home? So tonight we're going to go over reasons when you should cash out or not cash out, all right, guys? So first, before you decide if you should do it or not, what is the purpose of cash out refinance, okay? So there are a couple reasons why you should do a cash out refinance. The first reason is a lot of people are cashing out right now to pay off someone else on title. Let's say you were married and you got divorced and you have to give your spouse some equity, right? So the divorce can go through, so you guys can split the equity and move on. That's a reason why people do cash out refinances, to pay off someone on title. If you are getting a home, I'll go over that in just a second, Brian. If you are getting a home from a parent or a grandparent or someone in your family, you might need to give them some money unless they're giving you the property straight up, right? Of course, if you're going over 80% loan to value, which means you're going over 80% of the value of the home, right? Up to closer to 100%, you only can cash out max at 80%. If it's going over 80 and you're getting a house from a family member or friend, you might have to purchase the home for them or do a different type of loan, right? And you can't do cash out because you're maxed at 80%, right? But one of the main reasons people are cashing out right now is to pay off. I've never seen more people have to pay off either a parent, a grandparent, or someone in their family to buy the property for them. But instead of doing it as a purchase and paying real estate commissions and purchase costs are a lot higher than refinance costs. Do a cash out refinance, pay off the other person, right? Someone help you co-sign. You got to get them off title. You got to do cash out. The second reason, home renovations, right? Why would people right now are trying to renovate their homes. They're living in their homes a lot longer. The government is not bailing out America by building more homes at at a rapid rate and at a more costly rate, right? They're not building it at a cost efficient rate, right? They're just flooding the market with more buyers without building more homes. So because people are living in their home longer, they're renovating. And you have two options, right? You could either go out, max out credit cards, max out personal loans at 15 to 24%. But no, don't touch the equity in your home because you're going to pay off your house with a 3% interest, 3 point something percent interest, right? So sometimes people are like, I don't want to touch that. I want to either get a equity line of credit, which is kind of like a cash out, or max out credit cards. And the third reason why people cash out is to buy another property. They either get a line of credit, if they have a really low first, they get a line of credit, or they do a cash out refinance to buy another property, right? How the rich get richer, OPM, other people's money, right? You are pulling cash out of your property to buy more properties. And of course, you need to do it right and make sure you do the math right to make sure you rent cash positive. And last but not least, what most Americans are doing right now, the reason why I brought this subject up regarding cash out refinance, it's a very popular subject: debt consolidation. So many people live house rich but pocket poor, and they're living paycheck to paycheck, right? A lot of people are living paycheck to paycheck, but they are house rich but pocket poor. But they don't want to tap, but people are telling them not to tap into their equity because they're going to end up owing more, right? So those are the four main reasons people are cashing out refinancing right now. And every situation is different. In every situation, there's the different options, right? So we're going to talk about that. Let's keep that slide up so I know what we're talking about, Andy, here. Okay. So the first reason, paying off debt, right? No, paying off someone on title. So let's say for you to cash out somebody, right? First of all, to do a cash out refinance, you need equity. Let's say it together, guys. We need equity. You cannot do a cash out refinance without equity. On a renovation, there's renovation loans you can do, but we're not talking about that tonight. We're talking about cash out refinance, right? So you need to have time to have equity. And I talked about it a few weeks ago, in the last couple of weeks. Let's say you've been in your home for 10 years. That's when you have enough equity to cash somebody out. If you lived in your home for 2 years, 3 years, you might not. 4 years, you might have a little. 5 years, a little more. Anything after 5 years, I'm sure you're sitting on a lot of equity, right? Especially the market skyrocketed in the last 2 years, right? So you have cash out, right? So if you have cash out, you have two options. You can go get a equity line of credit and give them cash. These are my pros and cons about equity line of credit, right? Statistics will show you that when you pull out more than $50,000 cash out, the chances are you paying off the equity line of credit is very slim. So equity line of credits are based on interest-only loans that are variable interest rate, right? That means rates can go up and down. But because of the crash in 07, 08, there's a cap rate on it, right? So you can pay interest only, which is the minimum payment. And a lot of people do that. They never really attack the principal. So if you're thinking about doing an equity line of credit, make sure you are responsible. Like I said, I'm not here to judge, but if you do get one, make sure you're responsible. Because after 10 years, that equity line of credit turns into a 20-year fixed loan. It's going to be fixed at whatever rate is at that moment, right? So what people do is every 10 years, they refinance the equity line of credit. So they play this cat and mouse game. They chase their tail and they don't pay off their home. And then 15 years from later, like, you know what? I'm tired of just paying interest only. I'm not disciplined. Then they bring it into their first mortgage and they do a cash out refinance to combine the first and second. And then they're just adding more cost to their home. So if you feel like you want a fixed payment, you need to know what's going on and you need to have that structure, do a cash out refinance. If it's over 50 grand, I'm not that disciplined. I would do a cash out refinance. Under 50 grand, you might think about doing a line of credit to pay off another person, right? But if you're buying a home from them, after you live in the home for a year, you can do a equity line of credit. Before a year, if you want to pay off somebody, you got to do a cash out. So if you have to pay off someone on title, you got to do a cash out refinance, right? The sooner you get them off, the better. The reason why, the longer they sit on the property, the more equity it gains, the more money you're going to ask. So is it good? Is it worth doing a cash out refinance to get rid of somebody? Yes. And here's where another thing. So you've been in your home for 10 years. You can do a 20-year fixed cash out refinance. You don't have to go back to year one, but if you do a 20-year fix, your payment is higher. But remember, you don't have to go back to year 30. What I would do, I've been in the home for 10 years. I might look at a 20-year fix and a 25-year fix. See which payment I can live with. If I can live with a 20-year fix, I'll do the 20-year fix. If I can live with a 25-year fix, I can do a 25-year fix. Unless you know you're going to buy the property, cash out, and only going to live in it for less than 5 years, then do a 30-year fix. Drop your payment. You really don't feel the effect of the higher amount of interest until you're 7, 8, or 9. So if you're cashing out and you know you're going to sell within 3 to 5 years, go back to year one. Okay. If you know I want to pay off my house so I can do other things with my life, go to the year. Let's say if you've been in for 7 years, do a 23-year fix. You've been in for 12 years, right? Do a what? 18-year fix, right? 18-year fix. So it all depends. I just had the numbers in my head, right? I'm ashamed of myself not knowing. Shoosh. But yeah. So whatever year you're in, you can shrink the term. So don't think a cash out refinance is bad to pay somebody else. Like, oh my God, I gotta pay them off. I gotta start back at year 1. You don't have to. Okay. So that right there, cash out refinance, it might, if you got to get rid of somebody, cash out, right? The longer they stay on the home, the more money they're going to ask for because you're going to accumulate more equity, okay? There's just different ways you should do it. You can either go back to year 1, whatever year, or you shorten the years, right? Cash out refinance. Renovation. Let's talk about renovations here, okay? If you're going to renovate your home. So remember, when you renovate your home that requires any permits, guess what? They're going to reassess your property, which is going to bring up your property taxes. So be careful. Catch 22. You need equity to do your renovation, but you need years on your home to get the renovation done. So think about this. You lived in your home for 10 years. When you originally bought your home, the price was assessed at that point, at the point you bought it. And every year it goes up only 2%, right? Because of Proposition 13. But if you do a cash out refinance, right? And you go out and you get permits done to renovate your property, it's going to drive up the value and it's going to raise your property taxes, right? Unless you know you're going to sell your house in a couple of years, do it. If you know it's a long-term thing, be careful with your cash out. I just want to warn you guys that. It's a little tip, right? That we don't want it. I don't want you to end up like this guy, right? Right? So definitely renovation, be careful. Okay, that's tip number 1. So you have 2 options. Like I said, you can either max out some credit cards, take out a personal loan between 15 to 25%, right? And renovate your home. Or do a cash out refinance. Or do an equity line of credit. You have 3 options, okay? So if you know your people are going to live in their home a little bit longer than they were before. So if you're going to do a cash out refinance, right? If you're going to do a refinance, I would consider doing a cash out. It will be the cheaper payments of the 3 because you're going to have one loan and you're going to stretch out the payment, right? If I would not do a 24% interest rate on a credit card or on a personal loan to renovate my home, right? Because let's say you max it all out and you're still short money. I'd rather get a line of credit in case I need to go over, right? So people are doing cash out. Do not max out credit cards. It would make your payment even higher because you have your mortgage payment and you have your maxed out credit cards and your personal loan, okay? Equity line of credit, I see that. Like I said, if you are disciplined, you're getting out about 20, 30 grand, I would do the equity line of credit, right? Why would I do that? A cash out refinance, probably going to cost you about 4,000. Not going to lie. Keep it 100. 4,000, right? 4,000, and then you might have impounds, but you can get, you get your impound back from your old loan, but it's going to cost 4,000. So unless you need, I say 20 to 30,000, I would do the cash out refinance, right? I mean, I would do the equity line of credit, right? But if you're going to get 50, 40, 50 or more, I like doing the cash out. So it all depends on your situation you're in, all right? So let's go through that one more time. Renovation, on the personal loan, on the credit cards, the interest is too high, right? So you guys are there like shooting down cash out refinances. Personal loans and credit cards, the interest is too high. It would be 20 years till you pay off that credit card or that personal loan, and the interest is gonna be like 6 times the amount of your mortgage, right? Equity line of credit, if you're disciplined, do as you wish. With me, I'm gonna do a cash out at the shorter term, right? I like these shorter term cash outs and no one talks about it, right? So that's what you can do on a renovation, okay? Talking about number 3, buy another property, right? Buying another property. I would try the line of credit first, keeping it 100 with you, right? The reason why I like a line of credit first, you don't pay interest on that money until you use it. The only problem is it's on a variable. So that's where you got to decide what you're comfortable with, right? If you're pulling cash out to buy another property, I would try a line of credit first. They're both maxed at 80%. And actually, cash out, you're maxed at 80%, right? Equity line of credit, you can go up to 95% LTV, right? Or 85, 90% LTV, right? So you can get more on equity line of credits. The problem is, if you're not disciplined, that's where people run into problems. So you got to ask yourself if you're disciplined or not. But also, remember, if you do the cash out, you can do a shorter term. or if you're not disciplined, right? Let's say you're gonna pull cash out and buy another property, the rent on whichever one you're renting out, make sure there's enough to cover this line of credit you're pulling out. All right. So you're buying a property, you need to pull cash out. You can do a line of credit or you can do a cash out. I like both, right? But for me, if I'm buying another property, I would do a line of credit first. That's just me, right? So out of the 4 events, paying off somebody, you gotta cash out. Renovate, you kind of gotta cash out unless you're disciplined. Buying another property, you definitely gotta cash out and get a line of credit. So if you're in a position to make that predicament, yeah, Rick, I don't make money on equity line of credits, by the way, right? But I would tell you what I would do, right? I'm not here to tell you push cash out, right? Because sometimes it's not worth it. And that's why we're here today. Is it worth cashing out or not, right? Buying another property, I would get a line of credit first. Keep it at 100, right? Last but not least, debt consolidation. Do not take out a personal loan or a max out one credit card transfer back and forth. You're playing this gangster game between 15 to 24% interest. You will never see the light at the end of the tunnel, okay? So, cash out refinance, right? So you have 2 things now, line of credit or cash out. If your line of credit, you're interest only again. People who play this line of credit, this equity line of credit game to pay it off, most likely it does not happen, right? It does not happen. I rarely. The problem I warn you guys, like where much power is given, where much responsibility is given. What does it say, Andy?
Much power comes much responsibility.
Yeah, with much power comes much responsibility. People, they do their equity line of credit, right, and they pay off their debt, and then they accumulate more debt. That's what I don't like about the line of credit. You can, on the equity line of credit, when you pay it off, you can use it again like a credit card for the first 10 years. Then it turns into a 20-year fix, right? So if you have that discipline, then do your line of credit. If your first is low, if you got something in the 2s, leave it alone. If you don't, I'll come get you myself. I don't want you to turn this guy. If you're sitting in the 2s, do not pull cash out. If you're in the 3s and 4s, do a cash out refinance. If you got something in the 2s, go get a line of credit. The banks will loan you up to 85, 90% better than the cash out. That's keeping it 100 with you, right? If it's under 30 to 50,000. If you go over that, do a cash out. Unless you are that disciplined. But the reason why you're probably in debt is because you're not, everyone runs to, I can take this back, right? Woo, let me round, right? Let me rewind this because I don't want to judge. Some people are disciplined, some people aren't. Some people are in a very bad situation where they had to pull cash out. But it is tempting knowing that you have a line of credit. Once you pay it down, you can use it again. I don't like it personally, but if you are disciplined, that's why I don't want to say what I said earlier. Remember what I said earlier about judging? I judge, so I do apologize for being the judge. Don't call me Judy, all right? So, you like that one? Right? So definitely, if you're disciplined, have at it. But if you're not, like myself, I would do a cash out, right? Consolidate your debts. Well, you're really gonna pay more. No, you don't. If you're saving $1,500 a month when you consolidate everything, you can put $500 more towards principal. 500. Let's say you're saving $1,500 a month. You can breathe by saving $500 a month. Take 500, attack it to principal, and take the other 500 and put it into a retirement. Increase your 401k. Max out your 401k. Put it into an index fund, right? Drop that thing in Vanguard, right? Drop and make yourself some money. Let the money compound, right? You will make more money breathing than making minimum payments and still making your mortgage payment, right? If you don't do the cash out, you're gonna live paycheck to paycheck, holding on to all this equity that's not making money for you. What's good? What's useful for? What's the use of equity if you're not using it to make yourself more money, right? Social Security is not enough anymore these days, fam. Right? Yes, if you feel like you shouldn't do it, then don't do it. I'm letting you know how the rich get richer. They leverage their money, they leverage their assets to make them money, right? If you feel like you can't do that. If you feel like you can do that in other ways without doing cash out, do that first. But if you can't, that's a way, right? $1,500 a month. Who can say $1,500 a month right now? Can do a lot with it. A lot of people, right? So if you tack $500 a month on your principal, you pay down your principal quicker, right? So you're taking your interest that's interest only, that's due in 20 years pretty much, these credit cards and these personal loans. Now you're putting into an amortized whatever year, 20 years, 10 years, 30-year loan, right? You're actually, even though yes, you will owe more interest if you don't attack the principal. But with that savings, if you attack the principal, you're actually shaving off more years of interest. Remember, a credit card is between 15 to 24% in a personal loan. Your mortgage might be 3%, 3.5%, 4%, right? It's still better. It's amortized over 20, 30 years. But if you attack the principal, right? I have a strategy, right? You always move forward on a refinance or paying down debt so you can pay it off. So if you attack the principal, there's something called recasting. No one ever talks about it because the banks don't make money, right? So let's say every time you pay down your principal, when you get your original loan, it's amortized the math against the original balance. So all that interest for 30 years on your loan house 400 grand is compacted for 30 years, right? But when you pay down that principal, right, you attack that principal, you're shaving off interest because they amortize the interest towards the principal, but you have the original payment based on the original loan amount. So if you attack the principal and the interest is recalculated, which is drops, right? What happens? Your principal drops. When your principal drops, you can recast your loan. You have to throw at least $5,000 towards your principal to recast your loan. So in 30 years, after 5 years have gone by or 10 years, you've attacked your principal, right? Throw $5,000 in, they'll recalculate the interest against whatever principal's left. So think about it, you had a $400,000 loan, right? In 5 years, let's say you owe $300 on it. They're gonna, when you recast, they'll recalculate it against the $300, which will drop your mortgage payment without refinancing. It might cost you $200-$300. All servicers will do at least 1 to 2 recasting in the lifetime of that individual loan. If you refinance, you can do it again. So the goal is do your cash out, drop your rate, drop your payment. With that savings, breathe a little, right? Waiting to exhale, right? Breathe a little, put some money towards your retirement, save some money, and then take some money, attack the principal, right? And in 5 years, recast it, or 10 years. If rates get better, refinance, keep dropping the rate, but you keep attacking the principal, and you will pay off your home in like two-thirds of the time, right? But there's different ways to do it. But if you're gonna sit there and do a 30-year fixing, and yes, some of these people who are like, you're gonna owe so much more. If you sit there like a lame duck, you're gonna get shot, right? Yes, there are instances when people do that. But if you watch What's a Mortgage, you will know that we're not here to be lame ducks. We're here to be smart homeowners, right? Yes, we will owe property taxes because you live in America, pay your property taxes, right? But you will pay off your house, right? That's the goal here, is to be a homeowner, but live the American dream. And the only way to do it is to be smart. Don't sit there like a lame duck and just do a cash out refinance, and you keep owing more, but you never attack the principal, or you don't do something positive with your life. All right, guys? Hopefully that information helped you. Hopefully right there. Those are 4 reasons to refinance: pay off debt, home renovation, buy another property, debt consolidation, right? And I told you my opinion, and these are my opinions on what I have gone through, what I see what my parents went through, what other people I talk to go through daily. Okay, so of course, everyone is their own special situation. If you disagree with me, I'm sorry. But if you agree with me, high five, right? But those are the reasons why people cash out, and those are the reasons when you should refi not. And let me answer the last 2 questions for some Q&A. If you have questions, we have answer. Question number 1, right? People judge. Should you rent out and downsize instead? So if you have a chance, like I said, if you have equity to cash out, most likely your mortgage payment is cheaper than rent. If you have equity to pull cash out, your mortgage payment is cheaper than rent, okay? So why would you rent out your home if you owe money and not pull the cash out, right? If you own a home and if you have enough equity, you do not have PMI anymore. And you've had it for a handful of years where rent continually increases, and your mortgage payment, most likely, if you own your home for 5 years or more, your mortgage payment is cheaper what rent is out there on the streets. And for you to, if you're in financial problems right now, how can you be a landlord? Now you have to pay for renter's insurance. And did you know that you have to pay to clean the house so someone can live in it? And also, did you know that if something breaks in the house and you're a landlord, guess what? You have to fix it right away. If it's your house, you can take time fixing it. But when you don't, you got to pay for it to get fixed, right? Also, if you rent it out, you got to collect rent. Also, if you rent it out, guess what? If you live in a state like California that protects renters and they don't make their rent payment, you can't even evict them. What happens if you rent it out? You're already struggling on your payment and you're not pulling cash out and they don't make the rent payment. You owe your rent and your mortgage payment, or you're going to lose the house, right? So for those of you like, oh, I'm going to rent out your property. This guy said rent out your property and downsize. If your mortgage payment is cheaper than rent, what the heck are you going to downsize to, right? You're going to move back to your parents' house? I can see that happening, but you're still, it's the cost of being a landlord is not cheap. Talk to any landlord. Upkeeping a property for someone else to live in is more expensive for upkeeping a property for you to live in. Talk to anyone who's a landlord, right? Unless you own the Carter, if you know what I'm saying. Anyone know? It's a New Jack City. You the Carter? Oh my God, I'm so old now. No, the Carter. It's in New Jack City. Oh my gosh, you're so out there. You guys, if you don't know what the Carter is, guys, it's a crack house pretty much of apartments. So they didn't upkeep it. That's what I meant. So anywho, if you decide like I'm gonna rent it out, don't bother because you're gonna actually spend more money. Do the cash out. It's gonna lower your payment. You're gonna live in your house and you can pay off your debt. You do not have to do a 30-year fix again. And I think that's one thing all these people giving their 2 cents don't realize. You do not have to do a 30-year fix again. With your cash savings, even though you're doing a shorter term, you're eliminating all your debt, you will have a cash savings. Take some payment relief. Attack the principal more, right? Or put it into another retirement, right? Now you have your home and another retirement. But do not rent it out. If you own a home for the first 3 years and you can't do a cash out refinance, your mortgage payment is probably cheaper than rent right now. If you bought in the last 2 years, maybe not. Maybe in the last 2 years, you might do something different. Like I said, guys, don't judge anybody unless you know the full situation. I can't tell someone to rent out their not rent it out, but their mortgage payment is more expensive than rent. If you bought within the last 2 years and you're having problems, you had forbearance. Hopefully you saved some money. If you didn't, whatever situation that you couldn't, you might have to sell your property, but you have equity. If you can't rent it out and you can't be positive on it, then, that's a different situation. But if you own your home over 3 years, most likely your mortgage payment is cheaper than rent. Okay, so that's question. So that removes fear number 1. Rent out your property, and if you can cash out, your payment's cheaper than rent. Okay. Second one. This person just asked this question, right? Second one. Sell your house to downsize. Okay, the only time I would never crap on anybody, but I'm gonna crap on them now. Okay, so this guy tries to pull this like throw this comment. I can't sell your house, brother. If your house is $500,000, did you know that the average household debt is $30,000? Right? Let's say it's $30,000. So on $5,000, did you know it costs 7% to sell your home? So on $500,000, it would cost you $35,000 to sell your home, right? And then another $30,000 with that money to pay off your debt. He says, sell your home and then downsize to buy a smaller home. You go out and buy a $400,000 home because you downsize, right? It costs 7% to buy that house, too, by the way, right? 5% down, 8%, 5% down, 3% closing costs. So on $400,000, so you spent $35,000 to sell your home, $30,000 to pay off debt, so you have debt free, and $32,000 to buy your home and have PMI, which should be more expensive than your home for $500,000. If you have that much equity to pay $35,000 commission, $30,000 in credit card debts, and $32,000 to buy a new home, I'm sure that mortgage payment is cheaper than that $400,000 home, 5% down with PMI. So before you start talking about sell your home, you learn how to live on less, right? Come on, do the math. That's why I said don't judge unless you know. But I'll tell you right now, if this is just for cash out scenarios, if you're able to cash out, you should be able to keep your house without having to rent it out or sell it, right? Yes, if you have less than 20% equity, right? People don't understand. If you do the math of, unless you have a brother or sister, I had my buddy who actually sold his house. My buddy sold his house for his brother, but he didn't charge him the commission. He didn't charge him the 5%, right? They didn't have 80% equity where they can go 20% up to 80% cash out, right? There are scenarios where they had to sell, but it was like his brother was the real estate agent, right? And he got over asking price, and now he's renting. Will he own again? We don't know. I don't know that, right? But what I do know is that it's gonna be hard to get back into a house, especially unless Biden people come in and start building houses like crazy, right? But it doesn't seem like that's happening. So prices will keep going up, and can he catch it? Can he catch on that wave again and catch it? We don't know. I don't know. Even if he used all his money and paid off all his debt, if he did, he has no equity, he has no money left. How he's gonna buy? He's gonna rent, right? So definitely, guys, before you judge or make any decisions, last slide. Run the numbers. Run the numbers so you can run your life. Run the numbers so you don't run out of time. But run the numbers. Don't judge people for pulling cash out. Tonight we went over why you should cash out. We went over how you should cash out. We went over if you cash out or get a line of credit, right? But we went over those scenarios. But everyone is different. This is just my personal experience and dealing with enough Wham Fam viewers, right? I deal with a lot of Wham Fam viewers daily, and we run the numbers every day. Because we run the numbers every day, that's how I came across these numbers. Every facet of issues I've seen, and these are the best solutions that I've seen for the consumer. All right, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the content. Let's get some Q&A here. All right. Also, if you have questions while I scroll up, you can always give us a call. What up, Dad? What up, Rick? Still waiting for my Wham Fam merchandise to rock. Rick G, soon, brother. Andy, we gotta get name on that. Why don't they sell it? So Brian Lee, hopefully you heard, why don't they sell their house? It's gonna be more expensive to sell your house, right? Unless you got that much debt. Genesis, what's going on? I'm a 6 month and need to pay off debt. If you bought your home for 6 months, you probably don't have enough equity to pay off debt. But if you might, depends on how much equity you have, right? Depends on if you got to sell your house, sell your house. But just let you know, it's going to cost you 7% to sell your house. Okay? Hopefully you find a way, Villa Vincenita. Rick, putting offers on 2 months. No luck. I've been saving $3K a month to hope. Whoa, you're saving $3K a month to outbeat inflation. Rick G, I got mad respect for you. Do you think I should be fine saving that much while looking? Yes. You're saving 3 G's a month. You're going to outbeat inflation. Not guaranteed, but you should most likely. Looking to buy in LA County. Keep looking, Rick. Is this a good time to refi with regards to the interest rates? Yes, I think, as you can see, rates are still in the 2s, low 3s. I think, the government, if they play dumb, rates might not go up. But if they don't play dumb, it should go up, right? Inflation has gone up. Look at gas. Gas is at, dude, 87 is at $4.15. Are you kidding me? Right? Just look at gas. If gas is that up, housing prices will have to rise with it. Okay? Jolene, if you need help, please reach out. Any tips on getting a low interest rate while still getting a lender credit without having to buy 10% a buy down rate? 2 borrowers with excellent credit, 10% down. There is, Alex, but I can't say on here yet. But if you reach out to me, there is a way to get a low rate. It all depends on the lender you're with. There is a strategy. I think, but if you reach out, I think after this month, I will make the announcement on how to everybody. But for now, I still got to keep on the DL, right? But Alex, if you do reach out to me, today, perfect example, someone, my boy, Sammy, if you're watching, I know Sammy watches all the time. He had a 2.7, I think he had a 2.75 FHA, and they were giving him no lender credit, right? It's an FHA loan. And it was like 500 something thousand. I got him 10 grand with the same rate, right? It all depends on who your lender is. Of course, if you're with a specific type of lender, you might have the best deal on the block already. But if you're with like the bigger banks, most likely there's lenders out there that'll beat it, right? Like I said, this client had Sammy has a $600,000 purchase. I got him 10 grand. Sammy, if you're watching, please verify that so everyone knows, right? It all depends. What's going on, Rick? You're welcome, Rick. Let me see here. Who else? See here, Alex. Answer that question for Alex already. Oh no, Alex here has another one. Oh, let me see. Rick G T-shirt. Damn, I'm late again. Want to know about cash out renovation. Just bought a home, but it seems like my home value went up 50 grand. JP, you can do a renovation loan. If you just bought your home, you cannot use new value to cash out till after 12 months. And remember, if you do a cash out refinance, you can go up to 80% loan to value. Okay? So on 400 grand, your max loan amount is 320. But if you have to go over 80%, do a renovation loan. Conventional FHA, VA both have renovation loans. You can borrow up to 110% of the appraised value. Doesn't mean you need to go up to 110% of the new appraised value. So you bought a home for 400 grand, but once it's done being built, it's worth 500 grand. Let's say you add square footage or whatever you do, right? 100 grand, you could borrow up to 550. Doesn't mean you should, but that's how renovation works, right? You bought it at 400 and you got gain of equity, right? But the new appraised value, so your home is going to appraise for more. With your renovation, you borrow up to 110%. If you want more, if you need help, please reach out, okay? John's, give him the number. So if you need help on renovations, JP, give us a call, 714-790-9697. Bam, right there, right? Or email us, info@whatsamortgage. John Sullivan, when you say 27-year loan, are you doing QM? Yes, you can do a QM. 27-year loan is a QM loan, okay? You don't have to do a 30. You can do a 29-year fix, 28-year fix. The banks don't tell you about it because they don't want you to do it. They want you to go back to year 30. They want you to stay in the fives and keep rounding back up. Why? They make more money. All right? But you can go to 27. All right, John? You're welcome, Jolene. Alex, another question. If I take a higher rate to cover closing costs, do you recommend refinancing if rates are still low? Yes. If you go with an FHA, this is the only time I don't recommend streamlines right now too much because you're going to gain equity too quick. Go from FHA to conventional if you have a chance. But if you took a higher rate, covered all your closing costs, yes, in 6 months, you can use a new appraised value for rate and term refinance. In 6 months, right? Refinance to do a streamline if you don't have enough equity. But if you have enough equity, go from FHA to conventional. A lot of people are doing it. Even though rates are climbing, it's still worth it because you might be able to go from FHA PMI to conventional, which will drop your payment. All right? Hopefully that helps you out. Think about this. You take a higher payment. The payment's going to be $200 higher to get your closing costs covered, right? You make 6 payments. So typically you'll pay $1,200 instead of 15 grand in closing costs, right? We did, I looked at Sammy's deal. His new payment, right? Let's say he didn't want the 10 grand. The difference of his payment was like 200 something bucks. But after 6 months, that's $1,200. Would you want your 10 grand in closing costs or you want to save $1,200? Your pick. And then he can do a streamline. I want to buy a house by the end of this year, but what, Rigo? I manage my money poorly. I need some advice on how to save money. I have $8,000 in the savings. I need $20,000 for my down payment. Rigo, if you need help saving money, what you want to do is, I don't know if you can, for me, I would add a roommate or move back home to my parents. Best way to save money, move back home to your parents. The problem is when you move back home and you have that cash flow, you spend it, but move back home to your parents. If you don't have that, that's when I say, you know what, maybe sublease out your apartment, move back home to your parents. That's the best way to get your 20 grand. Because think about this. You can save $1 grand a month in a year, you can buy. If you move back home, let's say rent's $2,000. $2,000, 12 grand, 6 months, you're good. You're Gucci. All right. Gary, man, your information was truly been awesome to the masses. So what do you do if referrals don't follow up like you do? Gary, reach out to me, right? Gary, you have my number. Send me a text. All right, Gary. Andy, make sure we reach out to Gary. Gary, message Gary really quick, Andy. Michelle, you're welcome. Gary Hidalgo. Actually, let me message my people right now, Gary. I'm not going to say her name. No one called Gary Hidalgo. All right, I'll make sure to get on it, Gary. Pat Stu. Hi, man. When is a good time to call back? I left a message. Pat Stu. Let's see. How can we reach out to Pat Stu here? Pat Stu's on YouTube. Hey, Annie, give Pat Stu my email.
I can't give it to him.
Pull up the thing. Pat Stu, email min@whatsamortgage.com, Pat Stu, and I will personally call you. Min, MINH, @whatsamortgage.com. I will personally call you, okay? All right, JP, thank you. Let's see here. What's AM loan? QM, qualified mortgage. Just bought my home last year. According to Home Finder, we're up 22% from our buy price. When is a good time to refi, get rid of for an FHA? If you really do have 22% equity, Laureen, refinance right away. Get rid of that PMI. God forbid prices do dip. Get out your PMI while you still can. Okay? So if you have a chance to do it ASAP. You can't use new value till after 6 months. Seems like it's been a year. I would do it ASAP. Even though the rate might be higher than your FHA, get rid of that PMI ASAP. We don't know prices are going to dip. I'm not saying that they are, but if they do, you got out your PMI. QM is qualified mortgage. All Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, Ginnie Mae are qualified mortgage. Do you need a certain LTV for Streamline? Victor, on a Streamline, there's no value. You just can't pass the original loan amount. Okay? Hopefully that helps you out. Pat Stu, there you go. Nelson was good. Pat Stu. All right, guys. I really appreciate everyone who watched, liked, and shared. Guys, if I brought you value, do me a huge favor. Save this video and share this page. It helps out my algorithm a lot, so definitely do that. And some of you guys, hook me up. I need you guys to follow my TikTok, right? Go to TikTok, What's a Mortgage _. All right, guys? Hopefully you enjoy the content. Enjoy the rest of the night. Hopefully I brought you a lot of value and you come back again, okay? We want to end all our episodes with our attitude is gratitude. Without you, there would be no us.